Stop. Take a moment and look around you. How much of your current life, your decisions, your job, your clothes, even your social media feed, is constructed on a single, invisible, crippling lie? The lie that people are watching. The brutal, radical truth is this: when you accept no one cares, everything changes. For years, you've been living under the tyranny of the imagined gaze. You avoid that bold career move because of what your old college friends might say. You delay starting that passion project because you fear the critique of strangers on the internet. You constantly edit your life, your words, and your dreams to fit the expectations of a silent, invisible jury. But what if that jury isn't just silent? What if it simply doesn't exist? The truth is, everyone is the hero of their own story. Everyone is preoccupied, distracted, and consumed by their own internal struggles, their own ambitions, and their own immediate problems. Your life, your mistakes, your minor triumphs, they are a momentary flash on their crowded screen. And this realization, this profound, uncomfortable truth that you are, in the grand scheme, insignificant to others, is not a reason for despair. It is the single most liberating secret to authentic personal freedom. This is the moment we stop editing and start living. This is the secret Stoic mindset that changes everything. Why is this truth so hard to accept? Because our brains are wired to resist it. Psychologists call it the spotlight effect. We dramatically overestimate the extent to which other people are paying attention to our appearance, behavior, and failures. Think back to a time you made a public mistake. Maybe you misspoke in a meeting, tripped on the sidewalk, or sent an embarrassing text. For days, maybe even weeks, that memory burned, convinced that everyone else was replaying the scene. But the reality is, the moment you walked out of that room, or they hung up the phone, their attention immediately snapped back to their own world. We are the main characters of our own movies, and we mistakenly believe everyone else is a supporting actor, focused entirely on us. But they are not. They are busy shooting their own blockbusters. This delusion of being watched is the root cause of the validation trap. We crave the applause of others to confirm our worth. We post online, secretly checking for likes. We work overtime, hoping for external praise. We tie our inner peace to an external, unreliable, and fleeting metric: other people's opinions. Consider the story of the social media influencer who built a multi-million-dollar brand based on an impossibly perfect lifestyle. When they finally admitted that 80% of their life was filtered, faked, and miserable, the world's reaction wasn't outrage. It was a 24-hour news cycle followed by silence. Everyone moved on to the next bright, shiny object. They thought their public failure would be a career-ending judgment. Instead, it was a momentary ripple. Their greatest source of anxiety, the judgment of millions, turned out to be a fleeting phantom. The freedom they finally found wasn't in public forgiveness, but in the realization of public indifference. Validation is a drug with a crippling withdrawal. It requires an ever-increasing dose and leaves you powerless the moment the source of attention dries up. To achieve true self-mastery, you must stop seeking permission to be yourself. You must accept that the external world is a blur of noise, and the only voice that needs approval of your path is your own. We are not the first generation to wrestle with this burden of external judgment. 2,000 years ago, the Stoic philosophers had a term for the mental state we need to achieve: apatheia. Now, apatheia is often mistranslated or confused with apathy, which means not caring at all, a state of listlessness and emotional deadness. That is not what we are talking about. Apatheia means freedom from passion. It is a state of mind where your judgment is not disturbed by external events or emotions. It is a quiet, unshakable strength. A true Stoic practicing apatheia doesn't not care about the world. They care deeply about their character and their actions, but they refuse to be emotionally hijacked by the opinions, insults, or praises of others, because those things are not within their circle of control. If this radical perspective resonates with you, if you are ready to stop performing for the world and start working for your highest self, hit the subscribe button now. We are building a community dedicated to mental toughness and seeking the uncomfortable truths that lead to ultimate freedom. Don't miss the next step in this journey. Imagine Epictetus, the former slave who became one of Rome's greatest Stoic teachers. His teaching centered on the stark division between what is up to us and what is not up to us. He had been physically and emotionally stripped of almost everything in his life, yet he possessed the ultimate freedom, the control over his own mind and judgment. He understood that the insults, the treatment, the public mockery of his former masters were not his to control. He didn't care about their opinion of him. He cared only about his response to them. This is apatheia in action. The quiet, dignified refusal to be defined by anyone else's fleeting opinion. Marcus Aurelius, the emperor philosopher, wrote in his Meditations, "Do not let your imagination be crushed by the whole of life. Do not think of all the various troubles which have happened or which may happen to you, but in every event ask yourself only, what is there in this for me to endure and bear?" He had the most powerful job in the world, yet he understood the insignificance of external noise. He was telling himself, focus on what you can control, your reaction. The moment you realize no one is actually scrutinizing your every move, you stop performing for them. You stop living according to their script. You embrace apatheia, and you find that quiet center where your true motivation lives. You begin to act based on internal values, not external validation. Accepting the lack of external care isn't passive. It is a radical call to action. It is the prerequisite for self-ownership. Here is how you translate this philosophy into the real work of changing your life. Step 1. Identify your true circle of control. Take a piece of paper and draw 2 circles. The circle of concern, all the things you worry about, the economy, politics, what your neighbor thinks, the weather. And the circle of influence, things you can actually change, your effort, your diet, your knowledge, your attitude. When you accept that no one cares, you automatically shrink the circle of concern down to almost nothing. You must then dedicate 100% of your energy to the circle of influence. What is the one thing you can do right now that improves your life regardless of external opinion? Start there. Step 2. Redefine personal success. If no one is watching, who are you trying to impress? The answer is your future self. You must define success by your own metrics. Did you show up today? Did you give your best effort? Did you stick to your core values? Social definitions of success, money, status, possessions, are easy to measure but hollow. Internal definitions, integrity, discipline, wisdom, are difficult to measure but provide true fulfillment. When you accept the world doesn't care, you are free to pursue a success that only you can understand and value. Step 3. The power of acting in silence. Stop announcing your plans. Stop seeking pre-approval. There is a deep psychological comfort in working on your dreams in silence. It removes the pressure of performance and the immediate expectation of results. When you announce a goal, your brain often gives you a tiny hit of dopamine, the same feeling you get when you actually achieve it, tricking you into thinking you've already done the work. This is the concept of goal contamination. The antidote? Work in the dark. Let your results speak for themselves. The greatest rewards are those you give to yourself. Step 4. Embrace the weight of acceptance. This is the final, most important shift. Accepting that no one cares means accepting that you are fully, 100% responsible for your life. There is no external hero coming to save you. Your failure will not be a headline, and your success will not be a global event. This removes the 2 greatest barriers to action: the fear of public humiliation and the hope of undeserved rescue. When you accept the weight of this self-ownership, you realize that the greatest gift is the permission to fail repeatedly, because the only person who will notice is you, and you are the only one who needs to learn the lesson. We began with a brutal truth, but we end with a profound transformation. The irony of accepting that no one cares is that it is the very act that makes you capable of caring most deeply for the few things that truly matter: your integrity, your craft, and your ability to serve the world from a place of genuine strength. When you are no longer constrained by the need for validation, you are free to do your best work. You are free to take the boldest risks. You are free to love yourself, fully and imperfectly. The noise of the world is just that, noise. Your life is waiting. The script is yours to write. Final question. If you had to bet everything on one person, who would it be? You are the only logical choice. Go. Live, because you are finally free from the eyes of others. Now, I want to hear from you. What is the one major decision you have been putting off because you were afraid of what other people might think? Share your story in the comments below. Let's start a conversation about true self-ownership and support each other on this path to radical freedom.